Alright, welcome everyone to part 2 of our arrays lesson. So in this part we're going to be talking about how to access and how to assign items to an array. So if we use that same array we created in the first part, so we're going to go with the identifier first. Well, we'll just call it numbers like so, and we will put the number 1, 2 and 3 like this. So if I want to output one of these items here, first I'm going to use the output function like this, and then we're going to say numbers like this. Now I have to use the square brackets to access one of these items in the array, and if I put, for example, 0 here, then what this will do is it will output this item in the array because it's in index 0, so it's in the first position. And remember, in programming, things or items in memory start from position 0, which of course will tell us that the second item in the array is going to be in index 1 and the third item in the array is going to be in position 2. So the way this actually looks in main memory is if I, for example, to use my microphone, so if I draw a simple representation of some memory in RAM or in main memory like this, then when you declare an array, when you declare an identifier like this, then what your program does is it allocates some memory in RAM to this identifier. So, for example, it might dedicate this first memory location here to your array, and it will change the name of the memory location to the identifier like this. So this memory location will be known as numbers. And anytime you call this identifier, like we've done here with the output, your program just knows to look in this memory location right here. So we're basically just creating an identity for this memory location. So that's why it's called an identifier. We are identifying this memory location with this name here. It makes it easier for us humans to access memory locations with identifiers. If we had to memorize the numbers which represent these memory locations, it becomes too hard. So it's just an easier method for programmers, for human beings, to keep track of these memory locations. So this first data item, so this number 1 right here, would get stored in the same memory location where the identifier is. And then we have the second item, which will get stored in the adjacent memory location. And then the third memory item will get stored in the one after that. So you can kind of see here, because in programming, everything starts from 0. When we say output numbers 0, what we're basically saying is output whatever is in this memory location, numbers. So the program is going to look in this memory location, and we're basically saying just whatever is in the very first memory location, just output that. So it looks at this identifier and it looks at the 0 position where it starts, where the array starts from, and it will output number 1. But if we wrote, for example, output numbers 2 like this, what we're saying is look at this memory location here, which is numbers, and then shift by 2 places. So what happens is it shifts 2 places in the sequence of items, and it outputs this data item right here, which is the number 3. So this will output, I'm just going to add a comment here, so this will output the number 1 and this will output the number 3 like this. Now if we want to change one of these items in the array, then that's also very simple. We can just do this. We can say numbers So we call in the identifier right here. Then in square brackets, again, we're going to say 1. So you can sort of see right now which data item we're going to change. We're calling the identifier numbers and we're shifting to the right in the sequence by 1. So we're calling the identifier and we are shifting by 1 to this memory location. And we're going to assign to it, let's say the number 4, like this. So by this line of code, this item right here would get changed to the number 4 like that. Okay? Like that. So what we've done here is we've just had a look at how to access different memory in the array, or different items in the array, and how to assign different values in the array. Now, if you wanted to do something like this, for example, numbers, let's do 3, like that, and we want to assign the number 5 to this memory location, well, what will happen is you will get an error because there is no third memory location in the there's no third index in the array numbers, and therefore this will cause an error with your program. So be very careful of this. Don't assign anything to your array that won't be able to be assigned to the array, because it'll be out of the bound. All right.